Hello and welcome to VDODNA, where the English is bad and the tutorials are good. I'm Gran Tabib, and this exciting tutorial is about a procedural Earth, a pretty quick to render Earth, and it's actually pretty cool and fully automatic. What does this mean? That means if I'm going to change the lighting so the textures on the Earth will change automatically, and this means this is gonna save you a lot of time, and it's gonna go pretty high res. This is the low res version, and you're gonna get also the high res version, so you can do pretty good close-ups on this Earth. So let's start. I'm gonna open a new scene, and I'm going to see only this view, and I'm gonna open a new primitive polygon mesh and icosahedron, and I'm gonna crank up the detail. So I didn't choose sphere, so I won't get this nasty polygon on the edge, on the top edge and the bottom edge. I'm gonna press G to remove the grid, and so the wireframe won't interrupt me. I'm gonna go to the display options, and I'm gonna take down the wireframe highlight opacity to 0.3. Okay, 0.3. Now I'm gonna move to textured, and let's create a new material, a Phong material, and I'm not gonna edit it over here. I'm gonna press 7, and I'm going to edit it from directly from the render tree, and I'm gonna call this material Earth Matte, and I'm going to take the Earth color texture, and I'm going to plug it into the illumination, to the ambient, and to the diffuse. I'm gonna call this image Earth color, and I think I'm going to I don't see anything. That's because I don't have a texture projection, so I'm gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna take the spherical one. Okay, I can now select this one and press H to hide it. I'm gonna press Q to view what I've got, and that's it. Looks excellent. Well, thank you. No, just kidding. Let's crank up the quality, and let's select the Earth by pressing the space bar and clicking on the Earth. And now I want to make the specular highlight only on the water. So I've got a texture for that, and it's called Water Alpha. And I'm gonna plug it into the illumination, and this time to the specular, and I want the light. I'm gonna call this water, and I really want the light to be really more intense, so I'm gonna explore, choose lights, choose the light, press H to unhide it, and now I can locate it. I think it's somewhere. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna press V, put it over here. I'm gonna press X, scale it down, and C to rotate it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm gonna draw a render region, and I'm gonna press 7 again. Okay, let's select. Let's press Enter, and now I can take the intensity to 1. So that looks pretty nice, and I can see the specular highlight is pretty high. So I'm going to select again the Earth, and I'm going to choose the water, double click on it, and I'm going to edit the texture itself. And now I'm going to take the exposure down to, I think, -1 or -0.8, and okay, this is exactly what I wanted, but maybe I can take the specular decay and maybe, yeah, that looks good. And now I can close this one. I think I'm done with the day texture. It looks pretty good, so I can select all these nodes, and compound them, so it's gonna be easy for me to later put them together with another texture. I'm gonna call this one day, and I'm gonna unplug the shadow and the photon because I really don't need them. Now let's bring in another texture, the night texture, and I'm gonna plug it into the surface, and it looks pretty good. By the way, I'm pressing and holding the S key, and now I can navigate with the 3 buttons on my mouse. Not mouth, mouse. With the right key I can rotate, with the left key I can track X and Y, and I can track Z with the middle mouse button. And this texture looks pretty good, so I can take these 2 nodes and compound them again. And now I'm gonna double click it and call this one night. And the last one, I want a weight or an alpha, so I can take these 2 textures and mix them together. So I'm gonna take the incidence node, and the incidence is pretty nice. I can plug it into the surface, and now it's toward the camera, so I can double click on the incidence node, and I can change the mode to surface lights, and this is exactly what I wanted. Looks pretty good. Yeah, that's really nice. And I'm gonna take this 2 and I'm gonna compound them, and I'm gonna call this weight. Okay, we're almost done. Now I need something to mix all these together, so I'm gonna take the mix 2 colors node, and I'm gonna plug it into the surface, and I'm gonna plug the weight into the weight in the mix 2 colors. And let's take a render region, and now I can see something very interesting. I can see, if I double click on this node, I can see the green one should be the night, so I can take the night and plug it into the base color that is green, and now I can see the right texture in the right place. And the color, I can take the day and plug it into the color, and now I got what I wanted. But this is not enough because I don't have bumps. Okay, we have pretty high mountains right all over the place, and I really want them to stand out. So I'm gonna take the bump map, and I'm going to type bump, and here's the bump generator, and I'm gonna plug it into the bump map. And now I can take this bump that I just brought in and plug it in. So I can see a pretty good bump, but I think it's reversed, upside down. So I can go to the bump generator by double clicking it and change the factor to 0.5, and now I have a pretty nice bump map. Yeah, pretty nice. I think it's too much. -3. Okay, pretty solid. Okay, that's nice. So the texture that is on the earth is not really the texture that I want. So I can double click on the earth matte node, go to the OpenGL display and track shader, and I can then choose earth color. That's why it's so important to give names to almost everything you do over here. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's see what we have until now. So we have this earth, and it's not called earth, so I'm gonna press enter, and I'm gonna change this to Earth. Okay, and now I want some clouds. Okay, so let's take this Earth and duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D, and I'm gonna press X and I'm gonna scale it up a bit, and I want to give him a new material, a new Lambert material, and I'm gonna press 7 again so I could change the material. So I want the sky texture, the cloud texture. I'm gonna take the cloud, put it over here, and I'm gonna plug it into the transparency node. And if I drag render region, I can see that the map is inverted. So I can double click on the Lambert, go to the transparency tab, and invert the transparency. Okay, looking pretty good, except it looks like the Earth just sneezed, so I should probably scale this down, but pretty close to the Earth. So I'm gonna I'm gonna type a really low number that is close to 1. I'm gonna copy it and paste it to all the other axes, and now I have a pretty neat clouds map. So let's just change this to clouds mat, and I want to change the Lambert color to white on the diffuse and, well, white on the ambient, and I want to create a bump map. And actually I can go into the image tab, change the name, and I'm gonna enable the bump map. And I think this bump map is inverted too, so I can change the factor to minus something, minus 3. I think this is too strong, minus 1. Yeah, looking pretty good. And the last thing I want to do is to just play with it and see what else I need to do. Now, if I remember right, I think we have an atmosphere, but what is very special about it, that we can see it only in the places that are towards the light, that are lit. So we needed to create some volumetric effect right over here, and we needed to change automatically when we change the light. So now it could be over here. So the first thing I want to do is take the clouds, and I'm gonna probably should call this clouds, and I'm gonna duplicate the clouds, and I'm gonna scale them up and give this sphere a constant material, and it's gonna be white for now. Now I'm gonna pull out a render region, and I want to start the build with the material for this. So first of all, I'm gonna press 7, and I'm gonna take the incidence. Incidence. Okay. This incidence is gonna be the incidence weight. And it's gonna be towards us. So to see it, we need to plug it in to the surface. Okay. Now I want the edges to be white, so I'm gonna invert it. And I want it to be really close. So I'm gonna take this one to 0.8 and this one to 0.1, I think. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Maybe 0.5. Yeah, looks pretty good. And I want this to be mixed with another incidence. So I'm gonna take it, plug it to the surface, and maybe, not maybe, I think this one I'm gonna invert 2. And actually this looks pretty good. So let's combine this two. I want to take the mix to color node, and I'm gonna plug the incident weight into the weight, and I'm gonna plug the mix to colors to the surface. And now I can see I have fine edges that's supposed to be in a black color, and I'm gonna take this one, I'm gonna plug it into the base color, and now I have pretty nice edge. But this is not enough. So first of all, I need to take all these nodes and compound them, and I'm gonna call this Atmos. I think that's fine. And now I want to make another incidence, plug it in, and this one will be subtracting the Atmos from the parts that are not lit. So I'm gonna take this incidence and I'm gonna change the mode to surface lights, and this should be the weight of the Atmos. So I'm gonna take the mix node, I'm gonna plug this one to the weight and this one to the surface so I can see what I'm doing. And if the earth is lit from this place, I want this one to be the color. The color? Yeah, exactly. And the base color should be black. Looking exactly how I wanted it to be. So now I can take all of these nodes and connect them to the transparency node. Okay, and now I can plug this in to the surface. Now I can see that I have an inverted alpha, so I'm gonna invert it, and now I can scale this down until it's gonna be approximately the size of the earth. This is too much. Let's scale it up a bit. Looking pretty good, but this is not the color that I wanted. I want the color to be a blue, like our atmosphere. And there is another problem, that this side shouldn't be rendered. Well, actually, this is the inside. This one is the inside of the sphere, so I can go to the selection button, choose the visibility, go to the rendering tab, and I can go to the visible face, and now I can choose front face only, and it's gonna render only the faces that are facing us. Okay, so now I think I'm almost over. I just need to take the color of the constant material and change it to a bluish kind of, yeah, exactly. And I think that's it. Now I can take this one, go to the selection, visibility again, and I don't want it to be viewed because it's actually not helping me to see it that way. So that's it. I think we have a pretty nice earth, and if I really want to change this textures, it's gonna be really simple, but in the files you all have, you can choose from 2 files that you can do whatever you want with them. You have the low res, you have the high res. If I'm gonna go to the open, and let's take, no, actually both of them are here, and that's it. This earth is ready to use and ready to render, and I can do whatever I want with it. And I can change the lighting, and it's gonna be really responsive and really quick to render, and it's gonna save you shitload of time. Well, this is Liran Tabib from VDODNA, where the English is bad and the tutorials are good. You can download the project files and support the site for less than $1. Thank you for being with me. See you next time.